Now you're unmaking him a war criminal, and you won't answer the question about the exact same circumstances.
You're putting words in my mouth.
I'm reclaiming my time, sir.
You're putting words in my mouth.
And you know what you said to Secretary Tillerson at the end of his answer when he equivocated just as you are right now?
I've not equivocated.
You said,
you just don't let me
sure
answer.
Sounds like it to me. Then I'll give you a second chance. Is Vladimir
you never gave me a first
Putin
chance.
war criminal?
I already told you war crimes have been committed.
No, you didn't tell me if he's a war criminal.
Mr. Chairman, am I allowed to answer questions?
I'm reclaiming my time, sir, and listen.
Well,
I'm using your own words so you don't have to answer.
Did America just watch its Secretary of State dodge accountability on live TV? Great people of our beloved country, welcome back to the Prodigy Unfiltered, where we speak the truth that the mainstream media won't touch with a 10-foot pole. Do well to subscribe. Today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio was dragged into a congressional hearing, and let me tell you, it was a complete train wreck. By the end of this video, you will be left asking yourself the same question. Is it worth it?
400,000 other American families gave the same sacrifice, but the peace and prosperity that came forward the world has never seen. It's a transatlantic alliance where our allies sacrificed their young men and women when America was attacked in 9/11, and economically, they're a $1.6 trillion trading partner with us with 16 million jobs on both sides of the continent. So my questions today are looking for clarity on where we stand with our allies and partners for more than 80 years, because they're expressing their doubts. They're expressing their doubts publicly. They've expressed it to me privately. So as the face of our country, as the lead foreign policy representative in the United States, I'm just looking for this clarity. So first, simply answer this question, if you will. Is Russia the aggressor in this Ukraine war?
Yeah, Russia invaded Ukraine.
So they are the aggressor in this war, correct?
They invaded them, yes.
Well, thank you, sir, because it's important to get this clarity, because President Donald Trump said it was Ukraine that started this war, and our allies have the right to know this. Secondly, the person we're negotiating with, Vladimir Putin, is he a war criminal?
Well, I think you can look at instances that have happened there and certainly characterize them as war crimes, but our intent is to end the war.
Is he a war criminal?
We can't end the war without talking to Mr. Putin.
That's pretty simple. Is he a war criminal?
Well, that's
this man we're negotiating with, Vladimir Putin. Is he a war criminal? That's not tough.
But what? I'm trying to answer your question by telling you that we're trying to end the war here.
Go ahead.
No, it's not a simple answer.
You are equivocating, sir. Just answer the question.
I'm answering your question, and the answer is that war crimes have been committed, no doubt. And who's responsible for that? There will be time and place for that accountability. But right now, the job is to end the war.
So you won't answer the question.
If we don't end the war, people are going to get
reclaiming my time, sir. Let me go on. Consent to put in, for the record, a document. You're not allowing that?
You are not recognized right now. Your time expired. You might have a minute and a few. Mr. Secretary, please continue.
The last point is, our goal is to end this war. We have to be able to talk to both
sides
in order to do it.
Chairman,
in order to be, we have to end this
My time is answered. His time answering my question ended too. It's the next person's time. That's the rules in this committee. When you won't even let a person enter into the record something from our ambassador till recently from Ukraine, Ambassador Brink, who resigned because of the conduct of this administration after 30 years of service, sir.
You should keep a better eye of the clock in front of you. Your time expired. Continue.
Our goal is to end this war so more people don't die. And by the way, we want all those kids returned back to their homes that were kidnapped from their parents. We just want people to stop dying. Every day this war goes on, people die, things are destroyed, and lives are ruined. And we want it to stop.
Thank you, Secretary.
Because I don't understand this. Because you're sitting in front of us now as Secretary of State. It wasn't long ago that you were sitting as a senator with Secretary of State nominee Rex Tillerson at the time, in the exact same circumstances, only reversed. And you questioned him about Putin directing attacks against schools, markets, hospitals, playgrounds. And on top of this, in this instance, he's abducted 20,000 children, a clear war crime. So you were very clear then Vladimir Putin was a war criminal. Now you're unmaking him a war criminal, and you won't answer the question about the exact same circumstances.
You're putting words in my mouth.
I'm reclaiming my time, sir.
You're putting words in my
And you know
mouth.
what you said to Secretary
That's not what I
Tillerson
said.
at the end of his answer when he equivocated just as you are right now?
I've not equivocated.
You said,
You just don't let me
sure
answer.
sounds like it to me. Then I'll give you a second chance. Is Vladimir
You never gave me a
Putin
first
a
chance.
war criminal?
I already told you war crimes have been committed.
No, you didn't tell me if
Well,
he's
I
a
can't
war
even-
criminal.
Mr. Chairman, am I allowed to answer questions?
I'm
or just
reclaiming
be
my
hectic?
time, sir. And listen,
Well,
I'm
he
using
keeps
your own
reclaiming
words
it.
so you don't have to answer. Did you know what you said to then nominee Secretary of State Tillerson? You said you were very discouraged in his inability to accept that Putin was indeed a war criminal. Your words, we don't need any more. You're inconsistent. The third question I have, sir, is this.
I answered your question. You just don't let
You
me
did
answer.
not answer the question about Putin's
Well, you
war
keep
criminal
reclaiming your
conduct
time.
in Ukraine.
You asked me a question, then you reclaim your time. So how can I answer
You
the
answered
question?
it. Listen, let me go forward with this. 3 questions. And I'm
Or are you
being
gonna
pretty
reclaim
clear to
time
you.
on those too?
I'm giving you a chance to answer. Give me a chance to ask the question. Here it is. So there's a concern among these allies that we've had, our closest allies, about the one-sidedness of the negotiations with Russia and Ukraine.
Gentlemen's
Regular
time has
order.
expired. Secretary Rubio, if you'd like to respond.
But he says what he wants is a nuclear cooperation agreement. Well, we have a nuclear cooperation agreement with the United Arab Emirates and Turkey and Morocco that all provide for a gold standard of safety. Can you assure us that you will not enter into a nuclear cooperation agreement with Saudi Arabia that does not have that same gold standard of security to make sure they're not building a nuclear weapon?
Well, first I will tell you that there has been no conversation about entering into one. For example, during the recent trip.
Can you, I've got limited
I
time.
can't. So here's the thing. I can
Sir,
tell you.
either give me a yes, give
Well,
me a no.
I'm going to
let me
give
go
you
on.
my answer if you want my answer.
I want a
this
yes
is not
or
a
a
game
no.
show.
Reclaiming my time.
Well, reclaim your time, but it's not a game show. I get to answer. These are complex questions. Let me answer.
Mr. Secretary, I'm reclaiming my time.
I
The
don't know what that means.
filibustering
I know-
takes place in the Senate, not here.
I'm not filibustering. I'm trying to answer your question.
You're trying. Let's go on to the next question. With regard to Iran, can you assure us that you will continue sanctions on Iran?
Iran is one in which they cannot enrich, because if they can enrich, they can weaponize.
I know why we don't want. I asked you, will we agree? Will we continue the sanctions until they verifiably agree to get rid of?
Oh, you
the
have no
enrichments?
worry about us. The worry was the previous administration. This administration
Sir,
has
your
been very.
refusal to give me an answer is loud and clear.
No,
The Supreme Court in a 9-0 decision said the Trump administration has to facilitate getting him back. Do you believe the administration has to follow that Supreme Court order?
well, I don't believe he was wrongfully deported. He's a Salvadorian citizen.
That's not
illegally
my
in the
question.
United
Do you believe the
States.
Trump administration has to follow the Supreme Court 9-0 unanimous decision?
Within the context of separation of powers? That
Okay.
No court can tell me how to conduct foreign policy. They can't tell me what I have to say to a president of another country, nor do I need to tell them what I told the president of another country, because I can't
I'm
conduct
just
foreign
asking you,
policy.
do you believe the Trump administration has to follow the unanimous Supreme Court
I believe we
decision?
are following it.
Okay, so my next question is, what steps have you or the State Department taken to facilitate the return of Mr. Garcia, who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
The conduct of our foreign policy is an executive function, and how I conduct
I'm
it,
just
I don't
asking
need to share
you.
with you.
Well,
and
let
I
me
don't
ask you
need to
this:
share with the court.
Have you or the State Department taken any steps to facilitate?
We've taken
the
steps, but I'm not going to tell you what they are, and I don't have to, because we conduct the foreign policy of the United States, and I can't conduct diplomacy with a
And
foreign
so-
leader if I come to committees and tell you what they said to me,
Right.
what I said to them,
And you-
and more certainly a
Now,
court can't
so
tell me to say
you
that
have
either.
taken steps to facilitate Mr. Garcia's return.
We've made those.
And-
We've made that assertion, and we've made those assertions in court, and
All right,
we've
thank
complied.
you. I appreciate that. I'd like to ask you now about Ukraine. On August 24th, 2022, you tweeted the following. In the past 6 months since Putin's criminal invasion of Ukraine, Ukrainians have shown incredible bravery and strength as they fight to defend their homeland.
This wasn't a hearing. It was a reckoning. What we saw was a parade of deflections, evasions, and constitutional abuse from the Biden administration's top diplomat. And as a proud American, as a patriot, as someone who still believes in the Constitution and the rule of law, I'm furious. Let's break this down. First off, the hearing started with a damning truth. In 2023, the State Department brought in 44 government witnesses. This year, just one. Our lawmakers are saying, we're not here to oversee think tanks. We're here to oversee the State Department. And guess what? They're right. That's our tax dollars at work, folks. And yet, Blinken, sorry, Rubio now, thinks he can rule from on high. untouchable, and unaccountable. The arrogance is off the charts. Now, let's talk about Saudi Arabia. The secretary was asked point-blank, will you sign a nuclear cooperation agreement with Saudi Arabia without the safeguards that prevent them from building a bomb? And what did Rubio do? He refused to give a yes or no. He filibustered, he spun, and he danced around the question like a career politician. Well, here's my answer. Absolutely not. You do not hand nuclear capability to a regime that has shown over and over again that it plays both sides and looks out only for its own power. That's madness. Then we get to Iran. The question was simple. Will you keep sanctions on Iran until they verifiably abandon all uranium enrichment? What did he say? It's not a yes or no question. Are you kidding me? Of course it's a yes or no question. This is the same regime chanting death to America and funding terrorism across the Middle East. And we've got a Secretary of State who won't even commit to keeping sanctions in place? Disgraceful. Now, this was a bombshell. According to lawmakers, Chinese interests funneled $300 million into something called Trump Coin, a crypto backed by foreign actors with links to TikTok. Let me say that again, $300 million from China, and not a single word from the secretary. We passed a law to ban TikTok. That law expired. And instead of enforcing it, they're letting China buy influence in American platforms and crypto markets. You think China would let an American company do that in Beijing? Here's where it gets insulting. One Democrat lawmaker blamed Elon Musk for deaths around the world because he chainsawed USAID funding. Really? Elon Musk, a private American citizen, is now being blamed for deaths in Burma and Africa? This is classic leftist projection: blame patriots, entrepreneurs, and free thinkers, while they cover for tyrants and war criminals. And the secretary? He just sits there. No pushback. No defense of Musk. Nothing. Next came the most pathetic part of the whole hearing. Is Putin a war criminal? 3 times he was asked. 3 times he refused to answer. He's not leading with strength. He's not defending America or our allies. He's cowardly dodging the question, afraid to say the obvious. Yes, Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. Compare that to what he said just a few years ago when grilling Trump's Secretary of State. Back then, Rubio was all about calling out Russia. But now? Now that he's in the hot seat, he folds like a cheap suit. You can't make this up. Let's talk about the Turkish student. She wrote an op-ed, an article, viewers, and the Secretary of State had her visa revoked. Then, she was snatched off the street by masked federal agents and held in a prison in Louisiana without access to a lawyer. That's not America. That's East Germany. That's the CCP. If you're a foreign student writing op-eds, you should be debated, not kidnapped. This administration is using the Immigration and Nationality Act to trample the First Amendment. And Rubio had the gall to say, there's no constitutional right to a student visa. Maybe not. But there is a constitutional right to free speech, and it doesn't vanish just because you're on a visa. Let's not forget the cherry on top. The reports that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth halted military aid to Ukraine without the president even knowing. That's the swamp in action. And what did Rubio say? I don't remember. Sure, Marco. You don't remember one of the most consequential decisions in our foreign policy this year? This is either breathtaking incompetence or something darker. Here's the bottom line, patriots. We are watching the slow-motion collapse of America's foreign policy credibility. We're handing power to China. We're refusing to call out tyrants. We're revoking visas over free speech. And we've got a Secretary of State who answers nothing. I say this with every fiber of my being. This administration is not just incompetent. It's dangerous. We need real oversight. We need real leadership. And we need to stand up for America first before it's too late. This is Prodigy Unfiltered, and if you love this country, you cannot stay silent. Share this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Do you think this Secretary of State should resign? Because I do. Until next time, stay free, stay proud, and stay patriotic.